Hey, what's up guys? Jaeky here. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my full long-term review of the Wooting 60HE for Valorant and my experience with it so far, because I always get people coming into my chat asking me for either my Wooting profile and my settings, or just my thoughts and opinions on it and whether or not I would recommend it. So I've been using the Wooting for a little over 2 months now, which is quite a bit of time, and I've also swapped between my old keyboard, which is the HyperX Alloy Origins core, in red switches. I've switched between that and the Wooting a couple times just to see if there really was a difference or not, and whether or not I could feel a difference. And so yeah, let me give you guys my full thoughts and opinions on it, as well as my settings. So first, let's get right into my settings for the Wooting. Oh, actually, let's go over the pricing first. The pricing for the Wooting is a little bit expensive. It's $256 Canadian. That's not including shipping, so you can convert that to whatever your currency is, or you can just go to the website right here and it will tell you in your currency. And right now, there still is a little bit of wait time for the Wooting, so you will have to wait a little bit if you do order it. Right now, it's expected to be in stock mid-June. So going back to the settings here, you can actually access the settings at wootility.io. That's one thing that I really like about the Wooting keyboard, is you don't have to download any software for it. Everything is web-based. So I hate downloading software for like mice or keyboards. And the fact that it's web-based is really nice. You can change everything on the web, and then it just saves directly onto your keyboard memory. So let's go over my profile. I will have a code to my profile in the description below, so you can import it. But basically, for actuation point, I set it at 1.0 millimeters. And the reason I do 1 millimeter instead of anything lower is just because I find that anything lower, I will accidentally fat finger. Like if I brush against my Q key, it will just activate my ability. So on 1 millimeter, that doesn't happen at all, for me at least, which is why I use 1 millimeter. And then I put that pretty much across all my entire keyboard. I don't really change any specific keys. Like I don't do the movement keys at 0.1 or anything like that, just because I feel like it's unnecessary. 1 millimeter is already pretty fast, so I'm perfectly fine with 1 millimeter. Moving on to rapid trigger, I obviously turn rapid trigger on. That's like the primary feature of this keyboard, which will help you in Valorant, is the rapid trigger. Basically what rapid trigger does is, as soon as you let go of your movement key or any key, it will immediately register or deactivate that key. So it will immediately register that key as off, which is really important for hitting timings on counter strafes. So obviously when you're standing completely still in Valorant, your bullet will be accurate, and rapid trigger just lets it so that it's a lot more forgiving on your timings. So right when you let go of your movement key, the game will register you as standing still. And I found that this helps me with my counter strafe timings, because with my old keyboard, I'd have to wait that extra half second before I shot, just to make sure that I was standing completely still so my bullet would be accurate. But with the Wooting, I find that I can shoot immediately when my brain registers it. So when I just let go of my movement key, I can immediately shoot. And it's helped me win a couple gunfights where I just let go of my key and I can instantly shoot, and I'm completely accurate, and I don't have to wait for that half a second of timing that I would have to wait for on a traditional keyboard. For the sensitivity, I put it at 0.5 and not at the very lowest. And the reason for this is because when I put it to the very lowest, sometimes I'll just find that I accidentally will let go of my movement keys when I don't want to. So if I'm like holding W, like going forward on the lowest sensitivity, sometimes I'll just lift my finger up slightly by accident and I'll just stop moving. So that's why I don't put it on the lowest setting. Same thing with the shift key as well. If I'm like shift walking, sometimes I'll accidentally lift my pinky up just like the tiniest amount and it will stop me from shift walking, which is why I put it at 0.5 millimeters, just because 0.5 millimeters is still very, very fast, but I don't have that issue of where I lift, if I like accidentally lift my finger off. I don't have that issue at all on 0.5, but your experience might be different, so you can tune this to whatever you want. Tachyon mode, I think this is a little bit of placebo. I'm sure it does help a little bit with latency, but if it does, it's like very, very, very minimal, like not perceivable, because you know, I've tried tachyon mode on and off, and there's really like no difference. I'm pretty sure tachyon mode helps you with maybe like 2 to 3 milliseconds of input lag. So again, not perceivable, but you might as well turn it on if you want like the fastest experience, just on paper for peace of mind. So yeah, for tachyon mode, I leave that on. So these are my Wooting settings right here. Okay, let's go over the actual keyboard now. Build quality. wise and just everything wise. So let me start off by saying that if you don't like 60% layouts, I would not recommend the Wooting, obviously, because it's a 60% keyboard. So if you use your arrow keys a lot, I mean, honestly, there's a way to bind it so that you can have arrow keys. Like right now, if you hold down function, you can use your arrow keys. But if you don't like holding down function, there's also other ways using mod tap to set different keys so that when you tap them, it will be an arrow key. And if you hold it down, it will be the actual key itself. So there's different ways that you can set it to have arrow keys. But if you really, really need dedicated arrow keys or function rows or anything like that, then obviously stay away from this. But that's actually one thing that I didn't think would grow on me, but it did, is the 60% layout. Before, I was a big fan of TKLs. I thought TKL was small enough for me, and I really liked it. I thought it gave me enough desk space. But after using the Wooting for so long and trying to go back to a TKL form factor, it feels like TKL form factor feels really, really clunky on my desk. Like when I was using my old keyboard, I would have to put it like a little bit further away, obviously, because it has those arrow keys, and it just felt a lot more clunky. So that's something that I didn't think would grow on me, because I didn't like 60% ethers at first. I thought they were too small, and I really liked using arrow keys for editing. But after using the 60%, honestly, I'm having a hard time going back to anything bigger than a 60%. Like 65% maybe I could do, but like TKL and above, yeah, it just wasn't comfortable to use. So that's something that actually grew on me, is the 60%. So maybe give it a try. If you think you don't like 60% like I did, maybe give it a try, because it actually grew on me. Going over build quality, obviously it's incredible. The build quality, it's a plastic shut case, obviously, but you can swap it out because it's a universal 60% PCB. So if you want something more premium, you can swap it out for any case that's compatible with the PCB. Keycaps, obviously, you can switch out as well. I haven't switched out the default keycaps yet. It also comes with a strap that I opted to take off just because it kind of got in the way on my desk and I didn't like how it looked, so I took it off. As for sound quality of the keys, they do come factory lubed, and the stabilizers are probably some of the best stabilizers I've ever heard on a pre-built keyboard, a pre-built gaming keyboard. These are probably the best stabilizers I've ever heard. There is a little bit of rattle. It's not perfect, but it sounds miles better than pretty much any pre-built gaming keyboard I've ever heard. And so yeah, as for whether or not I would recommend the Wooting 60HE, if it's within your budget and you really don't have anything else to upgrade, like obviously if you don't have a high refresh rate monitor, then I would prioritize that over getting the Wooting 60HE. A high refresh rate monitor will definitely help you more than this keyboard will. This keyboard is really just quality of life. It's nice to have, but it's not absolutely necessary, obviously, to become better at Valorant or really any game. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. It's nice for quality of life if it's within your budget and you're looking for a 60% keyboard that's the best in class right now, then I would definitely go for it, and you don't mind waiting also. But if it's not within your budget, or you're really on the fence about it and you have other gear that you could upgrade, like obviously the high refresh rate monitor or a better gaming mouse, I would go for those instead before I go for the keyboard upgrade, because really you can play just as well with any regular keyboard, any regular gaming keyboard from any of the big brands. You can play just as well as you can on that as you can on the Wooting 60HE. The Wooting 60HE is just a nice quality of life, built really well keyboard that you can pick up. And yeah, that's pretty much my long-term review of the Wooting 60HE. I hope this video helps you guys out and was informative. If it did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.